Yeah, man. I do. I'll tell you one. I Yeah, it's a really special time for me in my life. It was my first sort of big job, big series, and I was, I spent my most of my life in the theater, all over, and if any Longmire fans are watching, hi, good to see you. I spent my life working in theater. And I grew up in theater. I went to acting school in a mostly theater acting school in Dallas at SMU, and I made my living working in theater, singing and acting all over the country before I moved to LA. And so, I had like my first scene on Longmire when I went to do the pilot. I had a while to work on it. Work on some of my scenes. I didn't have a ton in the pilot, but in the next episode I did. But I, it was the shortest little scene ever. It was so short. It's just a few lines, but I was in my trailer, just really working the lines and really good. I know exactly how I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it this way. And if you know anything about the show, Robert, who is one of my best friends now, who plays the sheriff, he underplays everything, right? I mean, Rob, the way he acts is he literally comes in and he just is like, hey, I'll make sure you remember that. And I'll never forget showing up for the rehearsal for that first scene that I shot on the show. And I came and I was like, Sheriff, I'm so late. I'm so sorry. It will never happen again, right? The way I had rehearsed it. And he just was like, and I remember being like, oh. And that was a major, huge lesson for me right there about working on camera, and about how he just in his subtlety taught me so much about, like, okay, you don't need, you don't need to get the message to the back of the audience. And in fact, we can just have a real simple, quiet conversation just like this, and it'll be just fine. And I remember being like, this is going to be fun, like, this is the exploration of on camera work, and I to this day I've fallen in love with it, almost more than stage, because there's such a broad spectrum of intimacy that the camera, but that was a funny moment between Rob and I, for sure, and that started our bond for the rest of the series.